Today's guest is somebody who embodies growth, grit, and the quiet strength of a man who's fought both in the ring and in life. Harry Burton is a former British Thai boxing champion, a professional MMA fighter with over 20 fights and 15 years in the sport. This is about a man who walked away from the most selfish job in the world, being a fighter, to embrace one of the most selfless jobs, becoming a coach. Now the founder of the Warfare Academy in Stoke-on-Trent, Harry's built more than just a gym. He's built a culture, a space where discipline, resilience, and character forge daily. He's produced champions, yes, but more importantly, he's produced better men. From pushing through hard losses and injuries to keeping his business alive through COVID, Harry's story is one of relentless evolution. In this conversation, we dive into what it really means to reinvent yourself, to lead from the front, and to choose purpose over ego. Let's get into it. Harry, nice to have you, mate.
Nice one for having me, mate. It's been looking forward to
It's been
this.
a long time coming. I know we've been in the DMs for a while, back and forth. I want to kick it off with your childhood. Was there a moment in your childhood where you realise I'm a little bit different? Because I think the psychology of a fighter kind of is very different from the average human being. Was there a specific moment where you can think of and you think, you know what, that's where I realised this is for me?
Do you know what? Like, for me, not really. Because I know obviously there's a lot of fighters out there that come from, like, say, a rough background, or they've gone into fighting because of trauma or whatever else. I've had quite a normal upbringing. Everything's been quite normal. I've just always had that. I played football as a kid, like 99% of boys growing up in the UK. But like, I've always, basically my stepdad, he did martial arts, and he always like talked about it and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to do it. But my mum and dad were like, you're not doing that. You and your brothers will just fight and just like break each other's noses. And my mum was like,
Did that happen?
We used to fight, we used to scrap, but this was before we knew. We just used to go down to Sports Direct and just get the odd pair of cheap 6-ounce MMA gloves, get on the back garden and just have a scrap, not knowing what to do.
Each other.
Yeah, basically, mate. Yeah, so obviously that's not normal. But yeah, we always wanted to start. I always wanted to start martial arts. I just thought it was cool.
What appealed to you about martial arts over the football? Because like you said, 99% of kids play football.
I love football. Not gonna lie, I love football. Playing football was mint. It was everything for me. But what it was, football was just like twice a week. So it's like Tuesday night you go training, Sunday you play football. Like, I wanted more. And obviously with martial arts, I just thought it was cool. Just like seeing stuff like old school UFC, and like me and my brother used to go down to like the local CX shop, buy old DVDs and watch fights and stuff. And just thought, and like, there was always like a few people at school, like, I've done a bit of boxing.
Yeah.
Play football. It was like a bit. I was always like a trailblazer. I was like doing something different.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to do martial arts, and with my stepdad's input, he was like, "Yeah, martial arts is cool." And I just wanted the idea of kicking someone in the head and just like learn how to kick.
I think Joe Rogan said it actually. He said every other sport aspires to be what combat sports is, because, for example, if I'm better than you at football, I can be like, yeah,
oh mate, yeah,
I'm better than you at football. But if you say I can kick your ass, nothing trumps that at the end of the day.
And mate, that is literally it. That is literally it. That is
your ace in it.
It's the ace card and everything. It's just beats everything, doesn't it? It's like you say, you said, didn't he? He said, you beat him at basketball, and then
That's what he said, yeah.
and he says, who cares? I can kick your ass, like,
yeah.
And like, it's like, what do you say to that? No one gets their ass beat and says, I could beat you at basketball. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's the perfect quote, mate, and that sums it up. That's why I like fighting. That, I think it's mint, and that's why I like MMA. That's why, because MMA,
to boxing.
Because compared to anything, like I said a quote before I was promoting one of my brother's fights, basically, and I said, basically, MMA, it's the king. Like I said, boxers, brilliant. How are they going to deal with the kicks?
They aren't.
Kickers, how are they going to deal with the wrestlers? Wrestlers, how are you going to deal with the jiu-jitsu on the ground with the submissions? Submission artists, how are you going to deal with being punched on the ground? Yeah. So like that, I just thought it was sick.
For me, I've obviously coached 2 or 3 years ago. I've coached a elite level boxer. I've also coached a amateur MMA guy.
Yeah.
Now the athleticism that the MMA guy has is phenomenal. And I think with the MMA guys, decent MMA guys, they are the complete athlete, because you have to have everything. You have to be agile. You have to have, you have to be flexible, etc. You've got to be explosive. It's every single skill set. You're moving in different planes of motion. So I think, and this isn't me just blowing smoke up MMA fighters' arse. As a fact, from what I've seen, they are the best all-round athletes.
They've got
on
to be,
the planet.
mate. They've got to be, like you say, like they're doing all the different arts. So I mean, and then putting it together. And like, obviously, for someone like myself and like the rest of the coaching team at Warfare, we're going to shows week in, week out, right? And the amateur scene in the UK is unbelievable. So I'm trying to, you know, two of my young lads like Taylor and Damo, top level guys. They can do it all. They can box, they can kick, they can
It's
wrestle.
scary for me knowing that a 17, 18-year-old will absolutely annihilate me.
Mate,
If it push comes to shove.
They're just different breed. But this is the thing. People think within our city, I'm from quite a small city, like Stoke-on-Trent, small city compared to Manchester, Birmingham. The other side. You go to these shows, right? And these kids who are coming through from, like you say, the bigger cities and stuff like that, they can do it all. They're elite level. They aren't going to college anymore, or they're doing the colleges they're doing the college what's it called, degrees or whatever, qualifications.
Is it A-levels?
Yeah, A-levels within school and within the gym. So a lot of these bigger gyms in like Liverpool, I know Aspire does it. And I think Manchester Top Team has incorporated it where you do A-levels within the gym.
That's awesome, because I was having a conversation yesterday with Cube, who's on next. We were having the debate, should combat sports be put into the curriculum for kids?
I think it should. I think it should.
What's your reason behind that?
I think it was one of the Gracies who said it. Like, I think every kid should know how to ride a bike, learn how to swim, and to defend themselves, martial arts. And I think not every kid has to fight. We're not all fighters, and that's fine. And we're not all competitors. But just knowing how to defend yourself, like I said to you before we started, it's not important about just stopping your kid from getting bullied. But if you learn how to fight and stuff, you're a lot less likely to be the bully as well. Yeah. So I think that's dead important.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to when you were a kid, were you always competitive? I can imagine you being super competitive, especially with a brother.
Yeah, competitive, mate, yeah. Until the end, didn't want to lose anything, whether it was finish the tea at night time, or whether it was just everything, mate. Me and my brother shared a bedroom, like I say, top bunk beds, and we just competed to everything. I had the hardest younger brother in the world, basically. So we just compete football, and that's what got me into martial arts as well. The glory of it. I know that's not your typical answer. Everyone says, "Oh yeah, we did it because I like fight." I just like the glory. I like seeing fighters out there with the belts and the trophies, and it's
like the modern day gladiator.
Yeah, I was like, I want that. I want to be that guy who's got the belts, who's got the trophies, and all the
accolades and the trinkets to go with it.
I love that. So that was what really got me into it as well. The thing is, what annoyed me is my brother, we both played football from a young age, like I said before. And he played for one of the best teams in the area at the time. And every season they used to win loads of trophies. So at the end of the season, when you have your little end of season do, Tom would come away with 10 trophies. I was just for box stand team, I come away with just your standard trophy that you got at the end of the season. Yeah. But when I got into fighting, I was like, this is sick. I can just go out there and just get a trophy for fighting and get belts and stuff. And I was like, that's the glory of it.
Was it also the fact that you're in there on your own and you could have a good game of football? You could do really well, but your team could still lose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was that individual aspect that also appealed to you?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you could have the best game of your life and still lose. That's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which adds to the pressure of being in a single sport, whether it's tennis or golf, whatever it is. Like when you're on your own, aren't you? So if you have a bad day,
it's on you.
You fucked up, aren't you?
Yeah, you're in control.
And say, if you have a bad day in the cage or the ring or whatever, you're in for a long night.
Yeah. So you spoke about the glory. Talk to me about the parts of the sport that people don't really appreciate. Behind the curtain, if you were. What are the not so glorious parts of the sport?
Not so glorious parts. So it's I feel like we said before, you train in martial arts, especially if you want to compete more than any other sport. It's even high-level footballers or high-level other athletes in other sports, when you find out their training plan, within reason, obviously, it's like a part-time job compared to when you listen to fighters' training schedule.
So when you were fighting at your peak, what would a typical day look like for yourself?
6 days a week. 6 days a week. Say 3 or 4 hours a day.
And what does that 3 or 4 hours consist of?
3 or 4 hours. So you usually you try and get you do a run or something in the morning before you went work or school. Then you come to the gym at night time. You'd either join in with the beginners class and just work tech and stretch up. And then afterwards you do the advanced class, which is a couple hours where you do pad work, drills, sparring, or say if you're doing MMA, you'd be doing grappling, sparring, whatever.
Is that all year round, or was that in camp? Say, for example, you come up to a fight?
That was just me personally. That was I mean, I tell all my lads I want them in regardless.
Yeah.
Like you, when you're in camp, it's about getting fit and getting sharp. Yeah. But like when you're out of camp, it's about learning. So you can sort of make it a bit more fun for yourself, take the pressure off. But that's when you can get your learning done. When you're in camp, and I don't like using the word camp because I think martial artists should be in all the time, but there is such thing as a camp.
Yeah.
Usually for us it's about 8 weeks, and and that's where you want to get sharp. You want to home in on your strengths, and then also that's another thing why warfare is different as well. The background stuff that goes on with the coaching, we talk and we plan fights and plan tactics for opponents. Like, you know, everything's on social media now.
Yeah.
Like these young kids, even though they've limited experience, there's loads on the internet now. Find out small things, if they're a southpaw, if they're more of a striker, if they're more of a grappler, what do they like doing? What's their favorite shot? Where's the weaknesses? Me and the other coaches, we talk about this day in, day out, like talking about game plans and stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you look at every other sports, especially in terms of American team sports, they're massive on watching game tape. It's not done so much in boxing. However, if you look at people like Ben Davison in boxing, them guys are massive on it. And, you know, I've experienced what they kind of do. So the fact that you guys are doing that even at the amateur level, do you reckon that kind of sets you apart? Or is that common practice?
For me, it's common practice.
Yeah.
Like say you see any videos on John Jones is blown up at the minute because obviously they want to fight Aspinall and all that. But
I'm going to get your opinion on that in a second.
John Jones is he's massive on it, on watching tape.
Yeah.
And you do realise, I think this was probably one of my flaws to my game coming up. It wasn't really talked about too much in my gym when I was learning, but the lads who are training, and then the lads who are training but also following the Cage Warriors, following UFC,
are students of the game,
are watching it, they progress so much faster. You can just tell them like, hey, where have you learned that? It's like, oh, I was watching it. I was like, nice, mint. Like they progress a lot quicker when you're following it as well. So I think it's important.
Yeah, and just going back to, you know, those 4 hours per day training sessions or whatnot. Psychologically, what does that do to an individual? Say you've got a kid now who wants to get into MMA. He's coming through your doors. He's a bit timid and he wants to get into it, maybe to defend himself, or maybe have you had kids who've been picked on, etc.?
Yeah,
and they get into it for that reason.
Yeah.
In terms of their psychology, how do you bring them on from being somebody who's been picked on possibly to somebody who can defend themselves? What sort of changes and conversations do you have with those sorts of individuals?
Obviously, martial arts is for everyone, but like our gym is known for fighting because it's just what me and the coaches are interested in. So that doesn't mean you have to fight though. So like we have beginners who want to train and they think, oh, is it a bit too much? And it's for me, at least I'll train you like a fighter. So even if you don't want to fight, at least you'll be fit. And at least I know if you do forever get into a bad scenario, then at least you trained hard and you trained like it's real. There's too many Mickey Mouse gyms, in my opinion, nowadays where like it's all false. So like, but yeah, for going back to that, like we have guys who've started martial arts because they've gone to a bit of hassle, whether they've been on a night out or whatever, and they're low on confidence. We just chuck them into the deep end, if I'm being honest, but in a safe arm around your shoulder environment where I'm like, yeah, I don't really like. I did do beginners classes and advanced classes and stuff like that, but for me, I've noticed the beginners learn quicker when we do a bit more of an intermediate session. So I dictate it. I'm a hands-on coach. I'm like a perfectionist myself.
Yeah.
So like, I always knew that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be that coach who's like training with you guys. I wanted to be, I've done that before, but I like being watching over everyone. So like, as much as say, for instance, our advanced lads, like say the likes of Damien and Taylor, whoever else, they might be doing one drill and then two beginners are doing the exact same drill, but I'm just doing it with a bit of an arm around the shoulder. Oh yeah, just
holding the hand a little bit more.
Yeah, holding their hand and just and then next minute they're training alongside killers. That will breed their confidence, and they're like, "Well, I train with those boys," and like we're all doing the same thing, and the progression I feel just shoots up massively. Just integrating it a bit more.
Amazing. What was the transition from being a fighter, like, into turning that into a coach? Because you've mentioned before, and you know what, I love this frame that you've got, that being a fighter is the most selfish thing you can do.
Yeah.
But being a coach is the most selfless thing you can do. What was that transition like for you?
So I'm like that kid when I was growing up. Like I was that anything it was, whether you told me you couldn't do it or whatever, I'd go and do it. That's I was.
I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah,
I'll show you
I
who's
worked in
fucking.
reverse.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah,
even
yeah,
if it was
yeah.
like my dad saying, "Oh, you're not going to get a tattoo, I'll get a tattoo," do you want me
Yeah.
or whatever it was. Like, but I had a funny conversation when I was training. I started BJJ at a local club, and I was doing all right. I was enjoying it, and I come from a striking background, as you probably already know. And I always thought, "Oh, Grafton's a bit okay."
Yeah, you see those memes, don't you?
Yeah.
On online where they put the BJJ guy
Yeah.
as a bit of a pansy.
Yeah, so and I had that old school like striking mentality.
Yeah, yeah.
And I started doing it, and I fell in love with the sport. I met a guy called Mark Little, made me fall in love with the sport, and yeah. So, but he was always when they had the gym, they were always like, "Oh, Harry, good to do a tiger boxing class at a grappling. Oh, good." And I was like, "Mate, teaching's not really for me. Like, I'm not really interested. I'm not." One, I've also because I'm a perfectionist, like I said before, I never thought I was qualified enough. And then they sort of put confidence in me and said, "Listen, mate, you're more qualified than us. Like, you've done years of this shit. You've competed at the highest level." And it's like, yeah, it's true. I'm still not sure. And then it was only when I went to my stepdad, went home one night, we were having tea and whatever. And he goes, "Oh, they've asked me to just teach a bit of Thai boxing at the local grappling club." And he was like, "Nah, you'll never teach. You can't teach."
And then that was like, what
I was like, I
watch?
literally got on the phone to my coach that night. I said, "Listen,
I'm coming.
bingo, I'll teach. What
Yeah.
do you want me to do?" So I got started on a one night a week teaching, and I thought, this is quite good actually. I like this. And it was just like,
What appealed to you about the coaching once you got into it?
I don't know, because it was like I was like learning stuff. Because when you're fighting, you just do. You're
Yeah.
a machine. You just do. Coach, monkey say, monkey do. You do what you're told. You crack on, and you try and do it to the best of your ability, and you want to win fights. That's all you do. But then like when you've got some kid, you're telling them what to do, and then they're saying, "Why are we doing this?" And then I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I actually doing this? And then you think, shit, yeah, I'm doing this because of this. And I'm doing this because of that. And then you start getting better at the sport through teaching. I'm not even doing it, but I'm getting better because I'm actually I'm figuring out little
Do you implement that
crosswords.
with, you mentioned your elite level guys. Do you get them to teach the beginner guys? Because I think when you're teaching and when you're trying to learn something, should I say, you're trying to ingrain it even further, one of the best ways to do that is to teach somebody else, like you just mentioned. Do you get your...
So I don't do it as in set classes.
But within the session.
But within the session. So sometimes it might be sort of simple drill, but like, right, lads, and this always throws them off. Right, lads, what we're doing today. And I'll just put it on them and I'll be like, right.
Love that.
Damo or Gallo or whoever you are, Steve Vickers, whatever. What combination do you like throwing? And then they've got to think, and then I'll say, why are you doing that? Okay, he does that because of that.
That's great coaching, that is.
So I put it on them sometimes in that way. Like I said, I don't really want to get fighters too much teaching because I do think it takes away from what you're actually there to do.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. When I went into coaching, I knew I'm either one or the other. I had this conversation with myself when we opened the gym, and I said, basically, the funny story with Wolf has a mad story, mate. Like, literally, when I was fighting in my peak prime, I was training at a gym called Subzone, massive gym in Manchester under Cameron Atakuru, top gym, top fighters, black belts, high-level fighters, like, you name it, they're there. Cam's actually my old coach. He's just been with Leon Edwards, and it's a massive gym. Awesome. Everyone knows it. So I was there with them guys, and I was doing really well. And then basically, I'm a plumber by trade, so I work for a company, and we do a lot of like property renovations. And every time I go to like these property renovations, I'm like, "Hey Dan, this would make a good gym," and it became like a bit of a joke, a running joke.
Yeah.
And obviously, I started teaching a bit, and then my boss he was like, "Oh, shut up, Harry! Like, shut up!
Yeah.
Like, you always say that." And he's like, then he'd come to one of my classes when I first started teaching. He was like, "I get why you do this now. This is pretty cool, this sport." I was like, "Yeah, I told you." And then he was like, "Well, I'm thinking about buying a commercial building myself." And I was like, "Oh, that would make a good gym," like as a joke. Anyway, one thing led to another. He had a fall through with a tenant, and this room become available. So I was like, he goes, "Do you want it?" And in my inner self I was like bottle job then. I was like, "No, pressure. I don't want it. I'm all right. Thanks for the offer." And then he sort of persuaded me round. He talked me into go. He says, "Go on, do it. You're a great coach." I thought, all right, and sound. So what it become was Warfare. How it started was it was supposed to be my little playground. Because obviously, as you know, I'm from Stoke.
Yeah.
I was travelling up to Manchester every night, training with
That was
Cam.
somewhere for you to train.
And that was my little place of home where I could just come somewhere local and train with a couple of guys from Stoke who I know. And that's what it was supposed to be. Next minute, we had COVID, which is a massive, I was like, oh shit, I've got this business that's just started. And then COVID happened, we got shut down, this, that, the other. And then when we come back from COVID, it was like, you know, when in January, when you have like Christmas and like January, you have all these new starters. Yeah. Well, when COVID happened and then gyms got opened up after, everyone was like starting. Next minute, the gym after COVID just took off. It was like, boom, everyone wanted to do it. Everyone wanted to get active again. Everyone wanted to do martial arts. Like you say, UFC was just peaking and all this. And I was like, shit, I've got something special here. I'm going to have to make the decision. Like, what's happening now? Am I a coach? Am I a fighter? And I had a bit of a hard conversation. Like, what do I do? I thought, do you know what? This Warfare Academy, it's too special to give up on.
What made you choose that instead of?
It was just too special. The members at the club, the fighters, we already started dabbling in the fight scene and we were doing well. We were like smashing it. I was thinking, shit, like I can't let this go. This might never happen again for me. I had a good deal on the premises. We did it up Mint. The group of lads who I managed to join me, and I was like, we were like a family unit, and it was just like, yeah. And we started getting like the start of my brother's career. Chrissy Mountford, he was like a household name and stuff, and Trent started training with us, and like it was like, no, this is too good now. We can't.
It started gathering momentum, and you saw the potential in it.
Just let's go. Let's hit it hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What do you get more from, fighting or coaching?
Tough question, mate. Tough question. I do miss fighting. I miss the glory of it. I miss when you're on those fight days and you just see the lads just like thinking, and they get the glory, like I said before, and it's like mint, and you get the opportunities, and I do miss that. But no, there's something. I'd say coaching. I think coaching is overall more suited to me. I think now, just because I always try and make the gym like what if I was a fighter, I would want to train at my gym because I have done the fighting and stuff. I try my best to be the best coach, and I know the coaches at Warfare are all on the same page as me. They've all done their own journeys, and we've come together, and like we try and make it the best for our lads. Like we do all like the little bits that doesn't get seen. We do all those little bits, and we always laugh and joke in the coaches group chat and say like, fucking hell, I wish we were 21 again fighting for Warfare. Like if Warfare was like this, because that's what but that's life, innit? That's just how it is.
I think with coaching as well, because I coach on a different sort of in a different context. I think with coaching, what I love about coaching is you get to win multiple times through other people. So that glory, you do get it second hand.
Yeah.
Instead of, having it all to yourself and only having it a few times a year possibly as a fighter in your example, you get it again and again and again. And you've had that little part to play in somebody else's success.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, and for me that's a massive buzz. Now, in terms of, you mentioned your brother, I know he got to a good level.
Yeah.
Were you part of that journey with him?
Yeah, so Tom, he trained at Cheshire Sambo, which is another really good gym.
What is Sambo? Because obviously I know Khabib does it and all the Dagestanis did it. So what is Sambo? Because I've seen it, they wear the gi with shorts. So explain that to me.
So Craig Jones, he takes the mick, doesn't he, a little bit like it's something or nothing. Basically, Sambo is like, because you got two forms of Sambo. You've got Sambo, which is the sport, which is just the grappling side. And then you've got the combat Sambo, which is the striking. Yeah. It's probably one of the most brutal of them all because you're allowed headbutts, you're allowed it's brutal. But basically Sambo is good because of the gi jacket, it allows more of the throws to happen. There's less going on the ground. Strikes aren't really scored as much as your grappling, so they do score that higher, but you can still win by knockout, obviously. But yeah, it's basically, what can I say? It's a mixture of them all. It's basically MMA in a jacket, close to, with a few extra rules, but it's
I've always wondered, because you hear about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, etc., obviously, but then I've heard Sambo being mentioned, but you don't know the rules, you don't know what the crack is, and you have, like I said, I didn't know you could fucking headbutt.
No, you can headbutt, so it just changes the game a bit in the clinch.
Yeah, definitely. I want you to talk about something that a lot of fighters don't really like to highlight, and that is how to deal with losses. I'm sure you've had losses yourself.
Yeah.
Are you okay talking about those?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
of course.
So in terms of coming back from a loss, what is the worst loss that you experienced in terms of the climb back up to getting back in there?
I've probably, for myself, like who fought at like a high level, I probably have one of the worst journeys any fighter could ever deal with. Like, I could say to all my fighters, like I've been through it all. Like I've won fights by knockout. I've been knocked out. I've submitted people. I've been submitted. I've won titles on big shows. I've lost titles on big shows. Like, do you know what I mean? I've been robbed. Do you know what I mean? So, but my worst experience was I went through a bad stage. Basically, I had my first professional Thai boxing bout, and I fought a guy who's at elite level, but we didn't really know of him. Social media wasn't really that big back then.
Yeah.
And basically, like, I was very hungry. I was like impatient, if anything. I wanted to be the best fast. I wanted to get there. And I was willing to for nothing. And so I would have fought anyone at any time. Maybe I needed a bit of reining in from my coaches, which I've learned to rein my fighters in. Like, moving forward, I've learned to like rein my fighters in, like taking one step at a time. I was like, not my
that
coach,
can be difficult to do, especially when somebody's eager.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. So, but yeah, I come off. I lost that fight. I got knocked out in my debut pro fight, which was shit. But because I was that hungry to like fight again, I fought too soon after getting knocked out. I lied about my what happened. And I got away with it. Promoters obviously let me fight. They didn't realize I got knocked out less than like a short period after. And I fought again, and I got knocked out again against the guy. That was more annoying because the guy who I fought for my pro debut is elite level. Like, I'm not ashamed of that loss at all.
With the second guy,
we had a good scrap, and it was like, look, it wasn't lucky. It was a good shot. But the second guy, I come back too soon. I broke his nose with a flying knee in the first round, and it was all me. Like, I was like on to set. I was like playing sail and switched off, and he caught me. And I think I could just come back too soon, and I went down, and the ref stopped it. So that was shit. That really pissed me off. And then I got offered a massive opportunity to fight in Holland, and I was like, fucking hell, it's a free trip. I'm going there again. Too eager. Just need to say no for that time. And I just come back, and I was beating this Dutch champion for like 4 rounds. And in the 5th round, he did an illegal move, and he knocked me out.
What was the illegal move? What was it?
He basically, I hurt him. I got him hurt in the, like I said, I think it was the 4th or the 5th round, and he backed up and he was hurt. And what he did was he put both hands on the ropes, and he like springing kicked, and I didn't even see the shot. And that's what caught me. That's the shots that knock you out, the ones you don't see. And it, like I say, the way he went backwards, it was like he was hurt, and then he sprung up and tipped me to the face, and I just didn't see it, and I didn't recover, and I lost. So I was like, so I've come back from 3 knockouts, and then I had my biggest opportunity come, literally, again 8 weeks after that, fighting on the biggest show in Europe, Yokkao, fighting against a Thai champion, Jack Kennedy, top lad. Know him as a friend now, good fighter. And the whole mindset for that fight was, right, Harry, I just need to survive. I don't care about winning. I just want to survive, which is a bad trait to have in a sport. And we had a great fight. It was a close fight. I lost on points. Neither here or there.
Did that knock your ego? Like,
it was a win. It was a little win. As sad as that sounds. Yeah. It was a little win.
Because a lot of people at that point, they just fuck it off.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine. Obviously, I've never fought myself, but like being knocked out in front of people, then that journey, even that first session back in the gym. What was that like? Is that a difficult session, that first session back in the gym?
No, really. The gym's not too bad because the thing is, like, when you're around fighting people, they understand. So, like, we had like teammates who has happened to before, and they're understanding because they're on that journey with you, and they know day to day. They know how good I am and what my potential was. They knew, fuck me, if they've beat Harry, they must be good. Do you know what I mean? They know I'm legit. But then, like, like family, and then like people from like on the outside, you don't always know the work that goes in. Like, obviously, just being knocked out in front of your mum and stuff like that, crying and stuff like that. That's like, I was like, no mum should see their son getting knocked out. I think that's it's not nice. So I was a bit embarrassed, a bit annoyed at myself for that. but yeah, like after that made me like I knew I'm better than that, and that's what got me through. Like I'm better than those losses, and I thought at the end of the day, my end goal was to be the best in the world. Like when I started this sport,
Yeah.
and stopping now is not gonna help that. So I just need to get a win back. And like I say, first and foremost, it was fighting on the big stages, getting used to it as a young lad. Bear in mind, I was only 20, and I needed to just get through that fight, and then just that built my confidence, and then I changed my training and stuff like that. I was never one to, if it's not broke, fix it. I was always looking to better the training.
Yeah.
So I went out to Thailand, did a training camp with Liam Griffin, which is he was my training partner at the time. He's a WBC champion now. He's brilliant.
He's doing really well, isn't he?
Yeah. So me and him were like best mates, training partners, and we went out to Thailand. And I had a big fight booked in the summer. We said, right, we'll go to Thailand, start camp in Thailand. Let's get a big camp. And I won the fight against a good lad from a Leeds gym, a well-known Leeds gym. Beat him quite comfortably, and I was like, bang. We're back, baby.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was tough. Don't get me wrong. Like when people started saying, "Oh, he's chinny," or he doesn't really want this or whatever.
Does that affect you?
The demons do creep in, but like,
did you start at any point start doubting yourself? Like, am I really this guy?
No, I did struggle because I come from a gym that was quite. It was a male-dominated gym. Obviously, most of them are. But so like, there was not a lot of like arm around the shoulders moments, which is something that like me and say Chrissy and George, like we all try to do with our fighters. We try and like look after our boys, but like that didn't really happen too much. Not purposely. I don't blame him for it, but like it just didn't happen. But when I got my next win, I moved gyms. I moved to Manchester. I moved gyms to a Manchester gym just because I needed a fresh start. I needed a new start.
A new perspective. Almost.
So when I trained at Northern Spirit in Manchester, they were a very different type of club. So they were very like, built your confidence up, like looked after you, arm around your shoulder. You're fucking good, Harry. Let's keep going. Let's improve this. And they were very like hands-on coaches, like how I am now, as I mentioned before. And the other coaches was more like crack on and get on with it. So that really helped me. And then I was on fire then when I went to them, and I just started winning fights again. And I was like back to my best, if anything.
Sick.
So
do you want to talk about the two young lads that you've got on UFC Fight Pass?
Yeah.
Want to give them a bit of a shout out. And for them, what kind of sets them apart from other fighters that you see? I understand that they're young. What, for any young fighter watching, what sets them apart and what's allowed them to get to the level that they are at such a young age? Dedication.
It's the big commitment. Just turning up, whether they don't really feel like it. They turn up, they listen to the coaches, they respect the coaches, they try and take on board what we say. Don't get me wrong, they're two young lads.
Yeah.
You have to whip them in shape sometimes. You have to tell them some hard truths. You have to be strict on them. You have to encourage them, like you say, for other fighters who are out there doing it. There's paths now. That's the difference as well. There's a lot of paths now. You like when McGregor came on the scene, like he was massive for martial arts because he made the whole martial arts scene blow up. Yeah. So everyone was like, there's a path now. Okay, but now, this day and age, now 2025, there's loads of paths now. There's Paddy, well, even McGregor, like loads of different paths where people can see it. So it is a lot easier now, as in the roads have already been set. Which makes my life easier. Yeah. So and there's opportunities.
I suppose them young lads, they could they've seen it. It's easier for them to believe that they can get there as well.
Yeah.
You know? And I think a lot of the time that's the main thing. It's like McGregor, I know he gets a bit of a bad rap at the moment. Yeah. But when he was fighting, bro, he was completely different mentally, I think, than what he is now. Yeah. I think he's lost his way a little bit now, which is cool, whatever. But I watch old interviews of him, and I think this guy is fucking locked in on a different fucking level.
Like shivers down my spine.
Yeah, it's that sort of stuff, and it's inspirational.
Everyone owes a lot to McGregor, and you'll see it loads of fighters. Like he's made the sport like a lot bigger, like
massively, bro.
I go down the street. I remember when it was first coming about and stuff, and obviously you training for years. I've been training for years at this point, and you get like Tom, Dick, or Harry like to come up to you in the street and be like, "Fucking hell, you seen McGregor fight? Have you seen him? He's good." They'll be telling me more about UFC than I know about UFC because he is like like made them fall in love with the sport and just, do you know what I mean? And took it to new levels. So like, I say to everyone, like, I think my business is actually doing well because of McGregor, because like there's that many people for the door, because like people have
aspire to be like that.
Yeah.
They see the money, the cars, the clothes, and all the glory that goes with it, and they're like, I want a piece of that pie. We spoke earlier about, for me, when I speak to fighters and even coaches, sometimes they have this I think it's overly humble sometimes.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you want to make it in the sport of MMA, and you've got the skill set, of course.
Yeah.
So that's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
You've also got to have personality and getting that out there.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on, fighters who are good? Because there are fighters who are good, but won't get the glory because of their personality almost.
Yeah,
What holds people back? What holds fighters back from really expressing themselves?
Like I say, like skill set is number one, isn't it? Obviously.
Yeah, of course, because if you haven't got the products,
you need
doesn't matter.
substance, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like we said before, didn't we? Like, it's just typical English mentality, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, most of the English people are like sound, like, we're just like, what's the word? Just within ourselves, like, you have a shit meal in a restaurant and you'll be like, the waiter comes over, how's your food, mate? It's like, oh yeah, sound. And you're like saying to your missus, it's shit, this is. But like, you just
it's
take it on the chin.
a very British thing, that is.
Yeah. So like, you just take it on the chin and like, when you're fighting and that, you're in the trenches day in, day out, and like anyone asks you about martial arts, it's like, yeah, I do a bit. Like, you just play it down. So I think it is partly to do like an English thing. I don't think the Americans are like that too much.
Definitely
I think they're the opposite. But I think it's so important to be marketable into this day and age. Like you say,
100%. If you look at Paddy, he's smashing it right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, he just had that win off over Chandler.
Yeah.
Which has kind of lifted his profile. But even before that,
Yeah.
what I find is when you get guys like that, I could be wrong, they almost talk themselves into the position that they're in. So they believe it, and actually believe it deep down that, I am the best.
Yeah.
Have you come across fighters that don't actually believe that? Or they might say, I want to be the best, but deep down they believe that they're not really there. Because I think self-belief is a massive thing, because you can't get into the cage without having a self-belief or the desire to be the best.
Yeah. I think fighting and that, you have good days and bad days. So I think some days like fighters will just think, like, I've been there myself, like, I'm the best in the world. Stop me. And then some days I'm like, I am shit. I think like
it's the same with everything though.
Like, yeah. So like, but back to like the marketing thing, like at the end of the day, we're all a business. Like, MMA is a business. Boxing's a business. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, it's a business. You need to put bums on seats. Promoters aren't interested in you.
They don't want to know.
If you're not, they're not going to give, like, mate, they talk about like the Dagestanis, like, and stuff like that. They're smashing their own MMA at the minute. But the reason why they've got like lads who will never be signed to MMA who are probably better than half the UFC.
Yeah.
But because they can't speak English, or they can't sell themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot harder to do, and they're elite level. Like, that's why I think Khabib did well, because like, say, he had a bit of banter. He had like that tongue in cheek. But he could speak English, and he had the skills to back it up. And it's the same as Makhachev.
Yeah.
Like, so that's like the full package, isn't it? But yeah, 100%. Like, it's a business. You've got to put bums on seats. So like, where I've come from, Thai boxing, I don't like it anymore too much, because it's become. We walk into the ring. It's nice. Some people will like slate me for this. It's nice, the traditions of the martial art, the bowing, this, that, the other. But for me, that kid across the side of the ring, you bowed to him 4 times already, and we haven't even fought yet. Yeah. That kid wants to take your head off. Get in the zone. You're having a scrap.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Your mum's in the corner. Your mum's in the audience. Whoever. Is like the family, friends, it's getting heated. And that's the warfare way for me. I've taught my lads, like, listen, after the fight, we'll go have a pint. We'll have shake hands. We've just gone to war. But before that, put your war face on. War face on and crack on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's my mentality to it. So like with Thai, it's just a little bit too respectful, and that's why I think sometimes you see a lot of the Thais say like, why is Thai not getting its recognition it deserves? Why aren't they earning the money?
It's not the build up, is it?
Yeah,
it's not exciting, bro. Like, if you look at, like, you got Ben and Eubank, okay, I'm going to it. It's like Tottenham. It's the it's the build up that makes the fucking fight. It's the build up that puts bums on seats. And when you got 2 big personalities, you're gonna sell out, you know. And I think that is a massive part. Going back to the Dagestanis, what are they doing that everyone else isn't, because over the last 10 years or so, these guys, like you said, have been taking over. What is it with them guys? Because it's like...
They just, mate, what you think of it is, right, MMA, it's like, as much as, for me, I'm a striker at heart, MMA is 70% grappling now. Okay, like you can out wrestle your opponent, you can control the fight. So like, and you'll see wrestlers out striking strikers because the strikers are that scared of the takedown.
Yeah,
they don't know where they're coming or going. Don't get me wrong, it's changing, as in it's like takedown defense is getting better. Like everyone's becoming more well-rounded now. Like everyone is. So it is changing a little bit. But the Dagestanis are just dogs, aren't they? They've just been doing it since they're a kid. They're just training like like we said before about martial arts in schools. We don't do martial arts in schools. They're doing martial arts. They've got to do 3 hours of training before they've even started school. Like they come from nothing, do they? So they're just working their hardest to just get their opportunity, aren't they? So
yeah, that for a lot of them, I suppose that's the way out, because they've seen people like Habib and Makachev, and they're almost like, you know, they are the superstars of the country. How we've got football over here.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's gonna be their main thing.
That's
over there.
Mate. We grew up playing football. They grew up wrestling. It just is what. And with wrestling being so dominant in MMA, like I said, 70%, then like they're obviously going to be like a head start, aren't they? Because they're wrestling from a young age. Well, we're playing like Sunday League.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's the difference at the end of the day. So when we start, usually most people start grappling as kids in, say, this country or whatever. They're doing even the American wrestlers, like they're wrestling in like colleges and stuff, aren't they?
They put, like, if you look at any of their sports programs, they're really pushing their kids from an early age. And anything, if you look at, you know, American football, basketball, whatever it is, wrestling, you know, athletics, they've got a full program in regards, and some of the most impressive, I believe, athletes are that side of the pond. Yeah. And I mean, if you look at John Jones and he could have done any fucking sport.
Anything, mate.
He could have.
His family have.
I think his brother's in the NFL.
Yeah.
But once again, gifted, and obviously they've utilised the tools that they had at hand. John Jones Aspinall, just want your opinion.
Opinion, it's hard, isn't it? I think Aspinall, if I'm being honest. If anything, like I actually lost money this weekend on Paddy and Chandler. I'm a bit embarrassed to say because I love Paddy. I really do. I just obviously I'm a striker. I always say like Paddy's striking isn't like perfect and that, but he was quality, wasn't he? He was, and he's proved a lot of doubters. And I just thought Chandler had enough to just take him out, but he wiped the floor. And I just think it's the same now with Aspinall and Jones. Peak Jones in light heavyweight, and if Aspinall was light heavyweight too, I think skills. The only thing that makes this like, I think skill level, you're talking Jones hands down, but the only thing is he's not a natural heavyweight in his age, which makes it equal. Yeah. If they were both at the same age and both similar size, then Jones wins every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Yeah. But because Aspinall's a natural heavyweight, young, hungry dog, I think I'm putting my money on Aspinall. Yeah, I think it's his time.
It is a difficult one, and I think Aspinall, what I do rate about him, I seen him on Piers Morgan the other day, and he's like, he's a better fighter than me. His resume is much better than mine. And Piers Morgan's kind of probing, and he's like, oh, if you beat John Jones, that's going to make you the GOAT. He goes, no, it's not. No, it's not. He goes, the reason I believe exactly what you just said, the reason why I beat him is because I'm bigger, and he would have never experienced power like I'm going to hit him with. You know, that's the one thing I'm banking on. He goes, I'm not looking to be the GOAT. I'm looking to be the best fighter on the planet right now. So I respect that with him. For yourself, where do you see warfare in the coming years? What's your vision for warfare?
Vision, we've punched well above our weight. Like we're doing something that Stoke-on-Trent gyms. There's a load of good gyms in Stoke-on-Trent. I don't want to slate any of the gyms. Like Stoke in general, as martial arts is growing massively and it's getting better and better. It's mint. It's still a way off like competing with the big cities, like you say Manchester's, your London's, your Birmingham's. However, we're doing good for the size of us. We're a fighting city. Like look at what like the boxing's taken off in Stoke. It always has had a good boxing team, really. Yeah. The martial arts is joining them. When I first started, there was only like one BJJ club, one Thai club. Now there's like 3 or 4 Thai clubs. There's like 5 or 6 BJJ clubs. Do you know what I mean? Like the city in itself is getting a lot better at martial arts. But what I always say to the lads, with Warfare, we're a small little gym. Yeah, we will be looking to like extend in the coming months, years. But when the right place comes, we'll probably be looking at going into it.
Into a bigger premises.
I've spoken to the coaches about we are looking low key looking possibly. We're not desperate.
Yeah,
we're not desperate. We just, if something did come about, we'd consider it because we know we want what's best for the students and stuff. And like I say, just take advantage of the growth. But yeah, like we'll just see when it comes. Really, I've said, like Alex Ferguson said, no one man is bigger than the club.
Yeah,
and regarding Man United and that, and I'm like that with Warfare. No matter what happens, we've had good fighters come through those doors, and we've had natural athletes, and they've come and they've gone. And whether that's coaches as well, myself, if I said one day I'll hang up the gloves, Warfare will go on. Warfare will continue to get better and better. It just will. Sport always moves forward, and I just think Warfare will always be there. Like I say, we've got such a good little clique and stuff. It's mint.
Awesome. Question for you. So I advocate for a lot of my clients. I was obviously doing the body transformation stuff a few years ago, but now it's more about, I work with business owners and pushing them into a certain lifestyle, and I advocate for them to get involved in combat sports. Now, what would your advice be to somebody who's getting into combat sports later on in life? Because a lot of people are apprehensive, and a lot of guys don't actually know to fight. They've never had a fight.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to them in terms of getting into an MMA gym or boxing, whatever it is?
I'd say one, look for gyms, look for good gyms. Obviously social media is massive this day and age. However, word of mouth is too. It'll always will be. Look at the heritage of the club. Where have those trainers come from? What have they done? Who taught them? Do you know what I mean? Making sure your heritage is good with your instructor and your gym. So making sure you do your research before you just jump in somewhere. Then it's about when you feel, don't commit yourself too much. Dabble, as in see where it fits. What tribe suits your vibe type of feeling. Because like I say, you might have the best coach in the world, but sometimes you just don't click.
You don't click, yeah.
And that's normal. That's fine. We're humans, aren't we? You know what I mean? Sometimes you just don't. So like say, finding someone who you trust and you're comfortable with and they're legit. And then just try not to like rush. Try not to like compete with the big dogs, like the young lads who are coming through with like savages. Yeah. Like it's fine. Just learn like a steady time. Take a bit longer. Make sure you make sure your nutrition is right. Make sure you're doing your stretches before and after training. Do extra care, and just like you say, don't try and do 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just warm in. Just say, right, okay, I want to start martial arts. I found a club. I like the coach. Right, I'm going to designate Monday and Wednesday. I'm going to that
2
club.
sessions a week.
I'm going to that club, guaranteed Monday and Wednesday, no matter what. Yeah, and then that might build. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Do you know what I mean? Then next minute you're in it, and your body will become more adaptable, and you'll just get used to it. And be honest with your coach as well. Like if you're sore or you're struggling with something, I'm understanding. Like if I don't make my senior members do what 16-year-olds are doing. Yeah. It's just stupid. Everyone's got, and that's the same with it's also like I wouldn't expect one of my lightweights to do the same as what my heavyweights do. It's just different. You've got to make sure your coach is doing stuff certain for you. So yeah, just don't put too much pressure on yourself, but make sure if you do commit, just make sure even if it's once, twice, 3 times a week, just commit to those days and just keep turning up and you'll get better. Nice.
What has MMA fighting, being able to fight done for you outside of, the gym, etc.? How has it kind of translated into your day-to-day life? How has it affected your psychology and the way that you operate?
Confidence. I wouldn't say. I don't think I'd be able to have this conversation with you now with the cameras and this, that, the other.
Really?
Not because I was never shy. I'm not shy. I was never like. I'm fairly popular in school. Like I was like not weird or anything. Like I was normal. Don't know. Just confidence. I feel like I can walk in a room with like not a cocky, but like a sense of knowing myself, owning my body, owning myself. So I'm naturally just confident within myself. So that's helped me massively. Obviously, I know I spoke to you before about you do forget more than you know sometimes regarding like what you've actually done. But when you take a little check over your shoulder what you have done, it does fill you with pride and stuff, and it does help you moving forward. Like whether it's other career paths as well, like whether it's in business or like work related, it makes you committed. Like similar to like the army does. You see lads come out the army within reason. Like most of them do all right because they've been structured. They've had a structured life, and martial arts is good structured. So it's made me like structured in that way. Like I'm reliable as a person, and so that's helped me. And like I say, I think you talk a lot in your podcast about comfort zones and stuff like that, and like I've been out of my comfort zone, like when you do martial arts so many times, whether it's sparring at a different gym, whether it's big shows, whatever it may be, a different country fighting against fans that are booing you, whatever. Like, but even just being in the gym, like some days I've had horrible sparring partners where I'm just nervous to just think, oh shit, I'm going to train tonight. He's going to come for me.
Have you ever been scared in those scenarios?
Oh mate, yeah. So it's one of my old one of my old coaches. He's not really a coach actually. He's just more of a affiliate. But you might have heard of him. He's a ex-UFC veteran, Mark Weir. He's a kickboxing and taekwondo world champion, legit as he comes. He actually held the record for one of the UFC's fastest knockouts back in the day. It was like something like 9 seconds with an axe kick. But that's quite cool. But basically half my family are from down south.
Okay.
So I used to go see them every other weekend. And I used to go training at his gym. And I was like, that was when I'd done a couple of years of training. I was still young, still 18, 19, done a few years training. I fancied myself. I was like, say, I had a good record when I started. I was like 9-1, fighter, confident. And I used to have the skinhead with the Mike Tyson slit in. I thought, I'm going in for rounds.
Yeah.
Different gym.
Yeah.
I'm from up north. I'm tough. Let's have it.
Yeah.
Mate, I used to go down there and like, I used to get beat up. I used to get beat up bad. I used to get beat up and I was shit scared every time I used to go. I said, I'm not fucking stopping. I'm going. Got to go. I would come out with black eyes, black and blue, mate. And I was like, why? And I just kept going though.
Kept showing up.
Yeah, outside my comfort zone, just doing it. And that built my mind up, to be fair. That sort of cemented my skill set as well. Like you knew if you fucked up, you get caught. So, but yeah.
What made you step away from fighting then? So like, what was the last fight like? Did you know it was going to be your last fight?
No.
Did you not?
No, it's sad. Have you seen those memes recently? It's like, talks about like your childhood and stuff like that. And it says like, there was the last time you had a kid's birthday party. There was the last time you had a sleepover.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like, I thought, oh, it's the last time I had a fight. Like, imagine if someone told me that then. It's like weird. Because I basically started at ASW, Subzone now, like I said to you before, in Manchester, top gym. And I had my debut with them. And it was a mint debut. I got a first round knockout. It was sick, like mint performance. And obviously that was like the start of my MMA career. I thought, this is it. But then like I was training regularly and then I opened the gym and then COVID happened. So I was dabbling with training still. I was still training up there whilst running the gym. And then like I say, when the gym took off, it was just a lot harder for me. And there was just like and then the kids come along. I've got a family and that now. And there's just like, there's just a point where I thought, for me as a fighter, I always performed better when I like had nothing. Like it was just all about me. And like I'm not in that situation now where it can be all about me. I've got my family as number one priority. I've got my business now. Do you know what I mean? Like they're my priority. Fighting would come third. And if fighting was coming third and I'm against a guy where it's number one priority, he's going to beat me. And I'm not a journeyman. Do you know what I mean? Fighting's everything for me. It has been since I started. It's like my pride would get away with it. If I wasn't giving it my all, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's where I was just thought, yeah, I'm too good for that shit. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to just.
I think that comes down to respecting the sport as well, you know, and understanding yourself and being very honest with yourself. Like this doesn't actually matter that much as what you're used to.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, when you're coming against somebody who's climbing and, you know, is hungry for it and it's their number one thing, you are going to come unstuck. It's like in everything else, you know, when you're in any sort of competition, whether it's business or whether it is sports, if it isn't your number one priority, and people talk about balance, but I don't believe if you actually want to be one of the best and you actually want to grow and you want to improve and kind of get to that pinnacle, I don't think balance really exists. I mean, you'll have seasons where, you know, your business or fighting or your sport will come first.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, what you're describing is you're in a different season of your life.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking to be more more well-rounded in terms of, yes, you have got a business, yes, you are a family man,
Yeah.
but you also love the sport.
Yeah.
So luckily for you though, with the love of the sport and your business kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
What happens to fighters, right, who unfortunately don't fall into the same position that you've kind of fell in, where the fighting just not there anymore?
I think it's hard, isn't it? Because like, for me, like I said before, I've got purpose within my life. It's like where I fell out of like the fighting side, I fell straight. Like the gym's picked me up. It's like it's not thinking about fighting. I'm like, I've gone from wanting to be the best fighter in the world or best fighter I possibly can to right now. Okay, I've got a good gym. We've got good lads. Let's be the best coach in the world. So I've naturally got purpose, and I've got a group of men say with Chrissy, Joe Burton, Hassan, who teaches at the club. Like we're on the same. We want to be the best. We want to be that little dog who's the best.
Yeah.
For me. So we've all got purpose. So we're quite content people. But obviously when you're fighting, if you haven't got purpose after the fight life, I think fighters do struggle. Do you know what I mean? Like, what now? Like,
I've seen that. I've worked with a few actually, who, and it's always, it's funny for me because fighters who don't find that purpose, especially MMA guys, I don't know if this is a thing, they love a conspiracy theory.
They do, yeah.
The love of conspiracy theory.
Dean Garnett and that.
Yeah, and the love of spliff.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's the thing, but like, and that's the conversation I've had with them in the past. It's like, what is that? Fighting's been taken away, and it's been your identity for so long.
Yeah.
You need to fill that void.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I respect fighters purely because of the discipline and everything that they have to go through.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and it's not a guarantee that you're going to do well in it and you're going to make it, and it's going to be, you see the glory, you see people like McGregor and Paddy now, but there's no fucking guarantee, and sometimes I feel like they get chewed up and spat out the other end with nowhere to really go.
Yeah, you're right, actually. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult. What advice would you give to those people? Because it's difficult for me to kind of understand that and empathize with that, because I've never really had that. Especially with fighting, don't get me wrong, I've lived a previous life and whatnot, and I have had periods where I felt lost. Yeah. But once again, I'm fortunate and blessed, to go into coaching to help other people to sort their shit out, sort their lives out. What advice could you give to those fighters who are struggling? Because I'm sure there's plenty out there.
There's loads, mate. Like I say, it's hard because I'm struggling to talk about it because I struggle because my missus laughs at me. Like I've got like hobbies and days.
Yeah.
Like I've got a very addictive personality.
Yeah.
So like if I get into something, it's like full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Like, she says I'm like autistic or something.
Yeah.
And that's what martial arts was me. But like now I've got a dog and I like getting outdoors and doing all that. Like I keep busy. Like I could like. People say like they win a load of money and they get bored doing nothing. I would not get bored doing nothing because I've always got plans to do something. That's just my mentality. I think for guys who are like fighters who are struggling, like my coach always used to say to me, my first coach, he used to do fishing, right? And he used
I've
to
seen
say,
the Instagram profile pic.
And I says, yeah. And I says, obviously the fishing and that. And he says, for me, like I do Thai boxing. This is what my coach said. He says, I do Thai boxing and I do fishing. He says, it's my yin and yang. He says, have your yin and yang. He says, you have your explosive, hardworking, grafty, like martial arts, and then you have your more settled, switch it off. And I thought, you know what, that's actually clever. So like, mine was always my martial arts, full steam ahead, and then like say getting out for walks, outside, that switches my head off. So like, I think that's good for fighters. Maybe like don't always like. I know when even before your career's over, maybe just like some days I don't go to the gym. Like sometimes you do need a rest day. We should have another thing going on in your life. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. And that might be a controversial saying because you have got to give it everything. It's so hard, but you have also got to get the best out of yourself. You've got to be able to switch off from it as well.
Downtime, yeah.
Because it's so important.
Yeah.
So like, not everyone likes coaching. Not everyone can finish football, say, and go into managing. Not everyone can finish fighting and go into coaching. That doesn't. Some people just aren't coaches naturally, and that's fine. But just they've got to try and find their yin to yang, haven't they? They've got to try and find their
something that's going to fill that void.
Yeah, fill that
it's funny
void.
you say that because I've seen. I was watching a documentary the other day about Roy Jones. He used to go play basketball.
Yeah.
I think there was one instance where he actually had a game of basketball on the same day that he fought for a world title, which is crazy.
Yeah,
which is crazy. So that's interesting in regards to having that thing and kind of bringing that in.
All the Dagestanis do it, like we said before. They all play sport.
Yeah.
They all play for football.
Is it handball? I've seen them playing.
They play it all, mate. They play basketball, handball, football. They're big, massive on it.
Yeah.
You'll see like Khabib at like Champions League football matches because he loves the football and that, and like they have other ways of getting out of it. Like it doesn't need to be to do with football.
Yeah.
Fighting. It can be something else. Like, and that's good. I think it's good to have another thing going on.
Yeah. What's one preconception that the average guy in the street gets wrong about fighting?
Probably that they're better at it.
Yeah.
I think that's C-Red, bro. C-Red. No, the thing is now, I think it's actually a dangerous place on the street. Like literally 20 years ago or 15 years ago, like I felt like if you did boxing, martial arts, whatever, you were like got such like you were like the rarity.
Yeah.
But like now, you speak and you go, oh yeah, he does jiu-jitsu now. Oh yeah, he boxes, he does. It's like I don't know if it's just my world, but I feel like everyone, because it's getting more and more popular, everyone's doing a bit, so catch up.
Yeah.
So keep up. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise you're going to be like the weak one. But like, yeah, everyone's doing a bit now. So, but yeah, there's a difference with doing it and doing it. Like, but
yeah,
still, people are training out there more and more. Like it's getting more popular, more and more. Tom, Dick and Harry's are doing it, aren't they?
Yeah. What do you think's brought that on? Is it the glory? Well, I do believe it's the glory. I'm going to answer my own question there, but what's been for you that switch where it's become more and more popular? What do you think has helped with that? Is it the fame? Is it the glory? Is it just people finding it more interesting, getting tired of the old sports? What do you feel like has brought that on?
I feel like there's just waves, isn't there? I feel like obviously the McGregor, it just takes one person to spark something in a nation or whatever it is, and then like, do you know what I mean? That's why it's so important. Like whether it's Tiger Woods in golf, whether it's David Beckham in football, like McGregor in MMA, like it sparks something done to it within the communities, and like kids want to grow up and be that guy. Like how many kids have got like PSG tops on just because like when Mbappe was there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like weird. Like you're from Stoke, mate. You're like, why haven't you got a Vale or Stoke top on? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But they love PSG. Like, so people can be like inspiring, can't they? So like obviously with McGregor, like Paddy, he'll be doing like he's gonna be doing numbers soon. Yeah, the amount of kids that growing up in Liverpool, they're all wanting to grow up and be Paddy.
Yeah, they'll all have that haircut soon. If they haven't got it already.
Literally. So like it's yeah.
Okay, cool. So if there's one thing that you could say, or one piece of advice you could give people watching this in regards to fighting, and maybe a lesson that you've learned along the way, it doesn't have to be related to fighting. If there's one thing that they could leave after watching this podcast, what would it be?
Whatever you do, like, give it your all. If you're passionate about something, go for it. Give it your all. Don't cheat yourself. Be honest with yourself and just like say, don't let yourself down. If you made yourself a promise, don't let it down. Like I said to you before about the old, like if you say I'm going to train Monday and Wednesday, be there every Monday and Wednesday. Like just guarantee to be honest with yourself and make something that's like manageable, realistic goals. And when you dedicate yourself to something, whatever it is, like you see it all the time in the gym, you'll see guys, they'll make mad progressions when they start. You'll see it loads in weights and that.
Yeah.
They'll be like, fucking hell, getting good. And then they'll start plateauing.
That's when the work starts, though,
and that's when, like, have you seen that meme where it's like that guy who's like digging a hole and then like he literally quits and he's like the other side is like all the diamonds.
Yeah.
And he's just there. That is martial arts, like or sport or whatever it is, or business. Like I feel like when you plateau in, you might even degrade a bit before you boom. You could be that close to like what you're looking for, like the forbidden fruit or whatever people want to call it. Like just keep grinding and like good things will happen to good people who are willing to work for it. Do you know what I mean?
Sick.
So
yeah. Harry, appreciate your time, mate.
I love this, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
It's been interesting.
It's been good, hasn't
it? Definitely. So. We'll have you on again soon, I think. I want to get Damien.
Yeah, Damo and Tay.
And Tay on here at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're superstars in the making.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do this again soon.
No, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Catch you soon.